Hello guys, so I'm finally back with another video. Yes, I know, I'm already a week late. And I think from now on, I'm just gonna try to upload whenever I can. I'm not gonna try to do once a week because clearly that doesn't work for me. I'm on a pretty tight school schedule and work schedule, but I have requested to work less. So hopefully I can start reading more, which means making more videos, stuff like that. But I had a pretty fun idea for today, and I actually wanted to sort books into Hogwarts houses. So I love Harry Potter. It's one of my passions. And I love the whole idea of like people having houses and personalities based on their houses and hobbies and likes and everything like that. So I was like, well, why don't I take this hobby of liking Harry Potter and books and just morph them together. And I know this video has been done by a lot of people. If you know anybody else who has done this video, which I'm positive that there are other people, please tag them. I'd love to watch their videos too. And yeah, so basically I just went on my Instagram story. This is my Instagram. I'll plug it for you, for myself, if you want to go follow it. It is all about books. I post book pictures and just talk about books, everything like that. I put one of those little question things, and I got a couple responses, and I picked about 7 or 8, I think it's 7, and I tried to pick the books that I actually read out of what people said, and just try to decide which house they go in. Now, I tried to, or I'm gonna do 3 categories for each book, and basically the first category is the cover. So this is just basing what house the book would be in based on the cover. Like, know nothing about the book, just how the cover looks. Second one's gonna be about the main character, what I think the main character is, which house they would be in. And the third one is the actual book itself. So the third one I think kind of reigns higher over the cover and the main character, but I just wanted to include those as well because I thought it would be a really fun idea. These are obviously just my opinions. Some of them were really, really hard to decide, and some of them I still don't even have a definite answer, and I guess I'll just decide that when I get to it. I'm stuck between 2 on a lot of them, but yeah, so let's just jump right in. So the first one that I have that someone recommended is Frankly in Love by David Yoon. I finished this book earlier this year. I really liked it. I think I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed it. And so when I first saw this one, obviously the colors are yellow, green, blue, light blue, different shades. So for the cover, I'm gonna have to give it to Hufflepuff. Just because, you know, it's just kind of their colors. But this is really pretty because it's blue. So, I don't know. That kind of says something about Ravenclaw, but overall I just see this and I think of Hufflepuff. And so Frank, the main character, he's a little buttercup, and I love him very much. And he's very smart. He got to a very good college. I'll just say that. I don't want to spoil the book. But overall, this entire book, he just really remained really sweet and honest and patient and, well, I was going to say loyal, but you'd have to read the book. But overall, I think his qualities just resonated in the Hufflepuff house, so that's where I'm going to put Frankly in Hufflepuff. And just because of that, I think the book overall was Hufflepuff. Yeah, this Hufflepuff took all gold, silver, bronze, all 3. But I think just because of that, because, I mean, this book didn't really have like any big adventures or anything like that. Like, he went after what he wanted, but I think overall the book just really had Hufflepuff qualities, just in my opinion. I am a Hufflepuff. I forgot to mention that. I am a Hufflepuff. But yeah, so that's it for Frankly in Love. The second book that someone said is You by Caroline Kepnes. And I'm sure you'll be able to guess a lot of my answers from for this book. So, for the cover, it is, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but it is like a navy blue with like white text, and the girl's hair is like a auburn or like a orange color, and the sticker's orange. So based just on the cover, I'm gonna give it to Ravenclaw just because their colors are blue. But just overall, you know, just kind of very Ravenclaw to me. Now the main character, Joe Goldberg. I'm gonna place him in Slytherin just because the guy has very sly ways about him, and he kind of does whatever it takes to get what he wants, and he's very ambitious. It's really hard to say why without spoiling the book. Also, I recommend the Netflix series. It's fantastic. I loved it. But yeah, I'm gonna say Joe Goldberg is and I kind of struggled because I thought maybe he'd be Ravenclaw just because of how, what's the right word? How intricate his brain is, because it's really fascinating to go through that with him. But overall, I think I'm going to give it to Slytherin just because of how ambitious he is, how sly he is, and how he gets things done. So leading to that, I think overall you is Slytherin. And I say this because mainly the entire book is him going behind the other main character's back to get what he wants. And the way he does it is very deceitful and sly, but very smart. Very, very smart. And he gets you to like him, which is super weird because he's like a killer, like a serial killer. But for some reason, like, he like kind of convinces you to root for him. It's so weird, which is kind of how I wanted to go with Ravenclaw a little bit, just because of like how smart he was, kind of, in a way. It's very weird. And no, I don't think what he's doing is right. I think that's important to say. He's a very bad guy. But yeah, so this overall Slytherin. So this is Truly Devious, which is what somebody else recommended, by Maureen Johnson. This is a really fun YA mystery novel, and it takes place at a boarding school, and it takes place kind of, you know, in like a dark, secluded area of the forest near a lake. And so for the cover, it's this blue, and it has like vines over it, and it has like orange text. And I know I said that one was gonna be blue because it reminded me of like Ravenclaw, or it was gonna be Ravenclaw because it was blue. But for this one, I decided to go with Slytherin for the cover. It reminds me of like vines. Well, it is vines on the cover, Lindsay. But overall, it just gives kind of like an eerie vibe to it. So that's why I'm going with Slytherin. And for the main character, I almost called her Frankie. Her name is Stevie Bell. She is kind of one of the characters that I grappled with whether to put her in Slytherin or Ravenclaw, because she's one of those characters where she kind of goes, I don't want to say behind people's backs, but she does what she's not supposed to do to get the answers that she needs, which is like ambition and everything like that. But she's also Ravenclaw because she's so determined and does so much research on the topic of the murder that she's trying to investigate. So that's one of the reasons why I'm stuck between Slytherin and Ravenclaw. Ravenclaw because she does a lot of research. She knows literally everything about this case that there is to know. But Slytherin because she's super ambitious and getting answers and talking to people and doing what needs to be done to get her answers. And so that's why she's in the middle. I cannot pick for her, but there you go. But it's also she's also a little bit of Gryffindor just because she's brave and she's determined and everything like that. The two kind of teeters, but overall I would say she's more Ravenclaw than anything else. But the book overall, and because it follows so much of Stevie, is another reason why I kind of had to put it in between Ravenclaw and Slytherin. You guys can tell me what you think in the comments, because I'm kind of stuck on this one. I didn't really know what one to put. But yeah, help me out with this one. I'm really not sure. Next, someone recommended Stalking Jack the Ripper. This one, I thought was really fun. I loved this book so much. Basically just about this girl and a guy from her class who's they're both apprentices to her uncle, who is a mortician kind of sort of thing. And this occurs whenever the Ripper, the serial killer, is very prominent where she lives in London, and they're trying to catch who it is. Really cool premise. It's a really good book. I really recommend it. I need to read the second one. But on the cover, there's a lot of green. Green is the color of Slytherin. There's a lot of Slytherin in in this video, but there's like a knife, and you can see London down here, and overall it's just kind of eerie, kind of dark, you know, solemn, if you will. So that's why cover, I'm giving it to Slytherin. Slytherin, okay? So for Audrey Rose, the main character, I am going to have to place her in Ravenclaw. And the reason I'm doing this is because she is so smart, and she's so into science, and she's so into research, and just very determined. I feel like she could also maybe be in Gryffindor, because she's just very brave. She does what needs to get done. She doesn't hesitate. She's just goes for it. Like literally there is a killer on the loose, and this girl is just in the middle of the streets of London in the middle of the night trying to catch that dude. So for that reason, I think she's a little bit of both, but for the most part, I'm gonna put her in Ravenclaw. So for the book overall, I'm gonna put it in Ravenclaw, just because I think that just all the science elements in it, all of that stuff, and just the research that you see her go through, all the clues that she puts together in her mind, overall just gives a very Ravenclaw tone to me. So yeah, Stalking Jack the Ripper is Ravenclaw. This is my baby. It was very hard to place in a category. But next is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. This is one of my most tabbed books. I loved it. I read it last year. One of my favorite books of all time. The cover. Okay, so this one I couldn't really go off of colors just because it's mostly purple, and there's no Hogwarts house that's purple. But I think this one, I have a sheet right here that I have everything on, so if I keep looking down, that's why. But this one, for the cover, I put in Gryffindor, just because they look like they are ready to go. They look like they are ready for battle. Brave, you know, he has his sword, he has his wand. They're ready to go and fight whatever they need to fight together. But yeah, so overall, they just look very determined, ready to go. And they're both very brave. They're both very brave. So cover goes to Gryffindor. So for Simon, very hard to place. And this one's very similar. The book's very similar to Harry Potter, so that's why it kind of led you to who should be in what, you know. But I ended up putting him in Hufflepuff. And this is just because I'm a Hufflepuff. So I saw a lot of his qualities in myself and my qualities in him. I was very close to putting him in Gryffindor just because he is brave and he just is willing to go do what needs to get done to save the world, you know, as he does. Not very well all the time, but, you know, he tries. And I just think that overall he be a Hufflepuff because he's so loyal and he's so kind and patient sometimes. Sometimes. Keyword. Sometimes. But I just think overall he is a Hufflepuff / Gryffindor. I said that word. Gryffindor. Yeah. So, and then the book, I put it in Gryffindor just because there's a lot of adventure, there's a lot of quests and journeys, stuff like that, but there's also a lot of love, and there's also a lot of friendship and everything like that. So it's really hard to place into one category, but overall, I just put it in Gryffindor. Another one of my most tabbed books, Next is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. And I really enjoyed this book. I need to carry on with the rest of the series. But this was one of my favorite books. I think I read it in 2018. But I really enjoyed it. And so for the cover, it has the 4 boys down here and the raven. And, you know, it has kind of like the darker colors and everything like that. So for that reason, I wanted to put it in Ravenclaw. But I think I'm just going to put it in Gryffindor just because, you know, they all look pretty brave, tough guys. That's why I'm putting it in Gryffindor. This one was kind of hard. I don't know. The cover doesn't really give you much to go off of. Gansey. So I know Blue could also be a main character. But I kind of want to go on of Gansey just because he kind of had a lot of qualities that really stuck out to me. And he was very determined. But he also did a lot of research. But he was also very ambitious. This dude was all over the place. I ended up putting him in Gryffindor just because it just seemed right. You know, he was really brave and he didn't let other people's opinions get in the way of him getting done what he needed to get done and get his research. And even when people didn't believe him, he believed in himself. And I think that kind of lays with Gryffindor. And I'm not saying Gryffindor is the only one that can be brave. I just know that's one of its defining qualities. I could never be in Gryffindor because... Anyways, but yeah, overall, I just think Gansey just radiates Gryffindor energy. Correct me if I'm wrong. I really want to hear what you guys think in the comments. Please comment below. Tell me if I'm right, wrong, if you agree, disagree, whatever. I'd love to hear what you have to say. But for the book itself, it had a very like melancholy, atmospheric, magical vibes throughout the whole book. And there was so much research done in this book, and it really showed how much the boys and Blue care about finding the king. And for that reason, I'm stuck between Ravenclaw and Gryffindor. And it's just because there's a lot of, I don't want to say adventures, but like tasks and quests that they had to do in order to get where they wanted to be. But they also had to fight a lot in order to get where they wanted to be. So that's just one of the reasons why it's both, you know, another one that I'm stuck in between. For our last book is Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. And I'm sure you can tell what this one's gonna be because the cover. Oh, there's literally my 5 seconds of summer bookmark. What if I quit the band and became a cheerleader? Ashton Irwin. I don't think it said his last name right. But I was rereading this a while ago. Can you tell how long ago it was? Okay. So, for the cover, it's very dark, very pale hands, apple. I'm going with Slytherin. Just gives me Slytherin vibes. I don't know how else to describe it. Anyways, so, Bella for the main character. I mean, she had such an overwhelming personality that it was so hard to pick. No, I mean, so easy to pick. I had a really hard time placing her just because I didn't really know what to put her in. I mean, she was very loyal. Very, very loyal. And that's like one of her biggest friggin' qualities, if you ask me. But she just doesn't give me that Hufflepuff energy. I don't know. She just doesn't. So, because she's not patient. The girl wants to be turned since freaking book 1. So, for that reason, I put her in Slytherin. Just because I literally, no other house just seemed to fit for her. I don't know. She's cunning sometimes. I guess you could call it ambitious to be with the Cullens. And overall, the book just gave me Slytherin vibes. I mean, I guess you could say Gryffindor because there was a lot of adventures and hardships that they had to go through, and just like action, I guess you can call it that. I don't hate the book. I don't want to make it sound like I'm hating the book. It was okay. I like the movies better. I'm not even gonna lie. But well, I only read this book, but whatever. I just think that just the whole theme, like, it's just so like dark and moody and everything like that. So for that reason, I'm putting it in Slytherin. And I mean, obviously Hufflepuff's like my favorite house just because it's me. I'm Hufflepuff. But overall, like, there's not one house that I prefer over the other. I really enjoy Slytherin. I really like everything Slytherin has to offer. And I think it's a great house. One of my best friends is in Slytherin. Shout out to you, Carly. But I just think that a lot of these are Slytherin, and that's not a bad thing. I like Slytherin. So yeah, that's the end of this video. Hopefully I can get some more reading vlogs done soon. But I really enjoyed this video. This was a really fun one for me to make. I really liked getting you guys involved by giving me suggestions. And once again, I will put my Instagram right here just in case anybody wants to go follow it. And yeah, so that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like my content, please subscribe. And I'll see you soon.